So yeah,
Oh, it does work.
I still told you that would work.
All right, check our audio. See if we're actually rolling here. Midstream ad. All right. We can hear you? All right, cool. Your laptop audio must be muted.
It is muted.
Okay, that's fine.
There's a button here.
No,
It's
you have
fine.
to push F.
All right, well, we're live. Hi, everyone. Trying to get this in
Hey,
action
guys.
here. There's T.
Are you struggling to
There's
control
D.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Just kind of getting set up here. Give us just a moment here. Y'all just feel free to ask any questions or throw any comments out there, things you want to see, questions you might have, and we'll try and get back to them if we miss it right away. If not, just go ahead and ask again if we didn't answer you. So just kind of be patient. It's a little bit hard to keep up with the chat sometimes, but we'll do our best.
Yeah.
I'm
So
looking at the computer over here.
Just gonna start with a little Q&A here before we start tearing into the shelter. I'll just set you guys down over here. So go ahead and throw your questions down below.
Excellent idea.
I think that will be good.
So, let's see.
Lori Ball says, "Where's Mom? She had some other plans today, so she couldn't make it."
Yeah, bad scheduling on my part, so apologies there. She already had some commitments, and I didn't know when I set this up, and yeah.
You want a cup of cocoa tea?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, so, hey, Robert. Yeah, we'll definitely be fishing this year. We're going to, we're going to start out on the fishtail here towards the middle of this month. We're going to start putting our halibut gear on over there. First, we got to get all the junk off of there from this project. We got some aluminum and stuff over there right now that's on deck, but we'll go over to one of the plants and lift it off, put our halibut reel down, and we're going to go out and get some halibut first. And then we have some leased halibut quota that we'll be fishing on this boat too. So about 10,000 pounds on here that we have to catch. It's tied to the boat, so it has to be caught on here. So we'll definitely be fishing this year on this boat. And kind of in the meantime, while we wait for all of our processing stuff to get in order, we'll just be doing some fishing on here. So that's kind of our time frame there. We don't have a lot to do down here to wrap things up. As usual, it looks messier than it is. There's a lot of tools and supplies and stuff still kicking away. So as we kind of get things tidied up, it'll come together. But yeah.
Hi, Doug. Rob Deaton, howdy, from Southeast Kansas. Hi, Santa Walk. Good to see ya.
So the typical procedure from the time the fish comes over the rail, so it has a lot to do with what species we're catching and things like that. Typically, if you're just delivering to a large processor here, rockfish and cod is just bled, and then we slush ice it. That's what we do on our little boat. That's always worked really good. Halibut is gutted, more to do with just the markets than anything. It's just historically and traditionally been gutted before. Head has to stay on. Minimum length is 32 inches. And so when we bring on our halibut, we'll bleed them out, and then we'll gut them and either slush ice them, or in the case on this boat, we'll probably be icing things down just because of the capacity of the fish hold is so much bigger. It might not make sense to slush ice right now. And so we're still kind of figuring that one out as we go along here. As far as when we start processing, we will probably just kind of do the same thing. We'll likely just ice our fish into a tote, and then as we fillet it and portion and package it and freeze it, we'll just work through that tote. That way they're chilled immediately. Same thing basically that we have going on now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, won't have to hop up and down in the fish hold.
Yeah, it won't make much sense to
fish.
put them down in the fish hold. What we'll do is we'll go to one of the plants and we'll just buy some ice, and we'll just go ahead and put a bunch of ice in a couple of the bins in our main hold where we'll be holding our product and freezing, and then that way we can just draw off of that ice as we go. Having the freezer running will keep that ice from melting, of course, and then we'll just have a supply of it as we go along that we can use to ice our fish on deck. And generally speaking, it's good to kind of let the fish go into rigor mortis. You either have to fillet your fish before it goes into rigor mortis or after, and it can affect the quality quite a bit if you do it wrong. And so it's usually best to let it go into rigor mortis and fillet it and freeze it. You don't want to fillet it too soon, because as the muscles in the flesh contract, it can cause the fillets to like bunch up and crunch up kind of. And so there's a little bit of learning curve there, but it shouldn't be too terrible.
Old Goat says, howdy from Oklahoma. Hi Buck Whitetail from Northeast Washington. Dean Fulford, North Carolina, howdy. Robert Malice says, I've been part of several refits and remodels of reworked commercial fishing boats for about 20 years.
Yeah, I think I asked you in one of the comments a while back, but I'm not sure if you saw it. But I thought you were from Kodiak for some reason. I don't know if you lived here before, but I was always under the impression this whole time that you were in Kodiak. So it surprised me when you said you were in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our Clark says, I am looking forward to seeing you performing the processing on the EI. Us too, we're very excited.
Yes, indeed. I think it'll be pretty satisfying for us going into this.
Yeah, so that's something that I did want to talk a little bit, and that's kind of like the upheavals that we're seeing right now in the seafood industry in Alaska. Again, we've definitely gone through some highs and lows in this industry, and we are dropping in to the bottom again right now as we speak. The last couple of years have been really tough on people, particularly salmon fishermen. Just a glut of product on the market, primarily from Russia. They're dumping vast amounts of salmon on the market to fund their war in Ukraine. I don't want to get into the politics of it or anything, so let's just leave it at that.
That's kind of the root cause.
That's the root cause of low ex-vessel prices for salmon. Pink salmon is really bad now. It's like 15 cents a pound. These prices are kind of going back to like the late 80s after the Exxon Valdez oil spill through the early 90s. We had really, really poor salmon prices. Not quite that low, but getting pretty close to it. Cod is also taking a pretty big hit this last year. The X vessel price is about 26 cents a pound this year. When we bought the fishtail 25 years ago almost and started fishing it, we got 50 cents a pound for our bled cod, and now it's half of that 25 years later.
Pretty wild when you really think about it. Doesn't match inflation at all.
No.
All of our costs have gone up as fishermen, insurance and fuel and maintenance.
Yeah, I think that we paid I want to say $1.25 for fuel back then.
Mm-hmm.
We could go fuel up the fishtail, get 300 gallons of fuel, and not even hit $500. Now, if we did that, it's close to $2,000. We're at the pumps. I think we're right around $5 a gallon for fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Our marine price for our diesel fuel is less than the pumps at the station, just because we don't have a road tax added in, and we do get some volume discount, but not a whole lot. But it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of this stuff is kind of combining to make it really hard on guys. So we're really well positioned right now, I think, to be adding this to kind of our repertoire. So combined with the low prices for salmon and ground fish in general, there's also been a couple of plant closures this year. One in particular is Peter Pan. They stopped buying fish last fall after salmon. They've got some plants, not here in Kodiak, but they've got plants in King Cove and a couple other places. They've sold some of those plants now. One isn't reopening, and they essentially left their fishermen there high and dry. Some of them haven't even been paid for salmon fishing last year. And then, of course, they didn't buy any fish through this winter from guys that do the cod fishery there during the winter. So tough times for them. And then our local plant, Trident, is for sale. They've sold 3 plants. Kodiak is one of them that's also for sale. So all of this has led to a lot of kind of volatility in our industry. And for us, strictly speaking, relying on our custom processors gotten harder, because a lot of guys are actually moving into direct marketing to try and stay viable as a fishing business and stay afloat. And so yeah, we're well positioned to be in this right now, and we've already got the backing of a lot of customers, and we're very thankful for that. And we've been in this game now for what is it going on 8 years, I guess. 8 years.
2016.
Yeah,
so.
8 years in June is when we be our, I guess, anniversary. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we're super thankful for all the support of everybody, not only our YouTube viewers, our customers, everybody that's just supported us along the way. It's amazing, really, to have this much support for our business and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's a little bit of the rundown on there.
Kind of some of the backstory behind moving in this direction, really.
Yeah, we've been caught off guard a few times in the past, and needless to say, it hurt. Let's see, Robert asked how many processors left in Kodiak. I think there is, I want to say 5 major processors. There's a couple that are subsidiaries of others, like Western is a subsidiary of Trident. I'm not sure exactly how their business model works, but they don't actually process fish. I think there's 5 main ones, maybe 6 total. And so we've seen that shore side processing sector has shrunk over the years as plants come up for sale. Usually another plant in town would grab that property, and it's really stifled any kind of growth on the waterfront as far as new companies coming in, unless they're like buying out another one, essentially. And so that's been hard. When Silver Bay came in here, they not only bought the plant that used to be run by International Seafoods of Alaska, but they also bought one on the other side of town, the Global plant, and 2 of the ISA properties. And so they really sucked up a lot of waterfront when they came in. And yeah, that's never good in any industry.
Hi, Eric. Steve from Oella, you guys are great. My favorite YouTube channel. Thank you. What's left to do on the boat before it's ready to launch? Larry Tizozeki asks. Well, we have some work left in the engine room. We're going to try and show you guys that in a bit. We'll see how the connection holds on coming through the hull, but we'll bring you down there and show you a bit more down there. We have some deck work to do. Same thing, we'll show you here in a bit and probably get into that.
I think the biggest thing is just to hook up our fuel system in the engine room. There's not really a lot going on there. It's really simple. It's just a matter of running a couple of stainless lines, putting some bends in them, flaring the ends. We made up a nice manifold to be able to draw off our different tanks. Our fuel tanks in the engine room are finished. We didn't do the starboard one. We were kind of running out of time. We were hoping to do the Tanner fishery this winter. We just kind of put that one on the back burner. Of course, folks know that we didn't make it, and that's no big deal. But at any rate, that tank is still empty right now. We don't plan on putting it back in service anytime soon. We might have some different modifications that we had planned down there as far as just integrating the fuel tanks into the hull and getting rid of those. And so we'll just see how that works out.
Yeah, kind of at this point, there's not a whole lot of, I guess, point in redoing that fuel tank right now because we have plenty of capacity, and just like Dad says, future plans going forward is to fully integrate them and just kind of spend our effort there.
Yeah, so the starboard tank is done, and the hydraulic tank it just needs just a couple little things to do on it. But the fuel tank itself is full of fuel right now. We measured it out and marked our sight glass as we refilled it, so we know exactly how much fuel is in it, and we'll be able to gauge our fuel consumption as we use it. We're gonna just strictly use that one for our generator, so we can really get dialed in as far as our fuel consumption on that. And so we have 150 gallons there. The hydraulic tank that is part of the old fuel tank should be about 50 gallons, something like that. We're not quite sure yet. It should hold a fair amount. And then we still have 800 gallons of fuel in the aft tanks. So we have just shy of 1,000 gallons of capacity on here, which is an awful lot of fuel. And a rough consumption per hour is somewhere 5 to 6 gallons is what we burn. That's with the main and the generator. And so a good shot of fuel. We have plenty of capacity for what we're doing.
Steve Shipke, greetings from Wisconsin. Level 1 skeleton, Green Bay, Wisconsin here, howdy.
I like that name. Level 1 skeleton.
Greetings from Mississippi. Let's see your name. OMR Jordan, hello from Northeast Washington. Mike Eaton, are you doing a tour of the boat? Yep, we'll show you guys around here in a bit. Clown Eyes, love from Middle Tennessee. Marcus Scholes, hi from Norfolk, England. Just catching up on the chat here. Like last time, some of our answers are a bit drawn out, so post again down below if we happen to miss your question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Carlson. G'day, guys from Port Lincoln, South Australia. Welcome. Good day. Timothy Foster, are you going to run 2 boats and use the new freezer for both?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. That's a little bit complicated in terms of how we have to report our fish. It is possible to set this up as a catcher processor, and we can do other people's fish. The only thing that we have to do is we have to have a bond in place, and that's a surety bond. And so basically, if you don't pay a fisherman for their fish, then they could go to the state and recoup some of that. I don't know. I don't think it's very expensive. It's not very much of a fail-safe mechanism, I will say that, because every processor has to post that bond. It's like a $10,000 bond.
Yeah, it's not near enough to like cover any like large fleet or barely even one vessel.
It doesn't even cover like one boat really. So so case in point is the King Cove plant that I talked about that closed suddenly. They bought salmon all through last fall from their fleet there, and then like late December, right before cod opened up, they let their fleet know that they weren't reopening the plant. One fisherman says that he's owed over $150,000 by that plant, and that's just one guy in that fleet. So yeah, so the surety doesn't really do a whole lot for people, but it still needs to be posted.
Little red tape things.
Yeah, and even if it's our vessel, we would still have to post it, even though we'd just be buying fish from ourselves, essentially. So we'll see how that works out. It's probably something that we will do, and because it just makes sense, too. But there's a few hoops that we have to make sure that we jump through and have all the regulations in place and everything. Because as catcher processors and direct marketers, what we're doing is we're reporting our own catch, and so we have to make sure that all of that stuff is done correctly and everything is accounted for. So Robert is asking about the fisheries seasons being open or closed. So trying to kind of figure out a good way to explain it. So Alaska, our fisheries, because our state is so vast, we have 4 different main areas that are managed independently of each other. So we have like the southeast, we have south central, we have southwest, which includes us, and then we have westward. Those are the 4 main regions. And then from there, they're divided into districts and even sub-districts. And all of these are managed independently of each other. There can be different openers, closures, restrictions on fleet size, restrictions on times being fished. Some areas are managed by limited entry fisheries, which means you have to own a permit to participate. Other ones are open access, which means anybody, even a non-resident, can just come up and buy a permit and go fishing out of a skiff or a boat if he leased one. So there's a lot in the management for Alaska. We have a ton of different gear types. We've got trawlers that tow the big nets behind them, catching like pollock and cod and different rockfish like that. We've got trollers that tow lines behind them for salmon, hook and line basically. We've got seine vessels that fish for salmon with a seine. We've got gill netters that use gill nets for salmon. We've got pot fishermen that catch cod. We've got longliners that catch cod.
Of different gear types and the fisheries.
And all of these different areas allow some of those gear types, but not others. And so, like, for instance, Southeast is big for trolling for salmon, but we can't troll here in Kodiak. We've got purse seines and gill nets in Kodiak. One side of the island is restricted from using gill nets, so it's primarily like on the west side of the island and the south end of the island that you can use gill nets. And it's all set net, as opposed to like Bristol Bay that has drift gill netters and set netters. So it's very, very complex. So our salmon fisheries here are basically managed in season, and for that matter, really the state is. So they have quotas, in-season quotas that have to be met. I shouldn't say quotas, I should say escapement. So they have to make sure that they get enough escapement into the rivers to basically ensure that we have future runs. And so that's the biggest thing. And once they meet those escapement goals and they're confident that they'll have enough fish in the system to spawn, and then they start to open it up. And every area has different management plans. Some are very complex, some are not so complex. There's a lot that goes into it.
Clown Eyes says, I remember watching y'all clear stumps and planting y'all's garden. That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was a real battle, those stumps.
We probably could have gone about it better than just brute forcing it out of there.
Yeah.
Maybe like light some more fires, but they were pretty waterlogged too, so
Yeah.
backhoe next time. Evelyn Richmond, I've been watching your YouTube for months. I'm originally from Boston. I miss fresh cod and halibut. I'd love to order from you, but I don't have an email. We do have a phone number on our site, I think. If you ever want to just give us a ring.
Yeah, I can. I actually don't have this number memorized, so let me just look here.
Yeah.
So if you're still listening and you would like to give us a ring sometime, you can grab a pen and paper and give us a call. Our number is 907-921-8786. I usually don't get to the phone in time before it stops ringing, so either just try back again, or better yet, leave a message. You can always text that number too, and that works really good. And we can take care of you. We can take an order over the phone, no problem. So.
Marcus Scholes, hi from Norfolk, England.
Steve C. says, kind regards from your #1 fan, Steve, here in Dublin, Ireland. Hello. Hello, Steve.
Are you guys gonna do any purse seining with the boat? Or Robert Malice asks. Yeah, probably not this year, but definitely going forward. That's the plan.
Yeah, we get a lot of inquiries about salmon. People want it.
Yep.
A few people have bought it from us before. We haven't had any for ages now.
Yeah, pretty much just our first year of posting salmon videos, which is 2018 or something like that.
Yeah.
But we would definitely like to get some more in stock and start doing that fishery because it was fun.
Yeah, so this vessel will actually need a fair amount of work to rig it up for salmon. There's a possibility that maybe we'll just use our little boat because it's still set up, and if we can freeze on here, then we're fine. The problem with our small boat is that as everybody in this town kind of forced their ice boats out, you had to invest in RSW system. It just didn't make sense for the size of the boat. The little fishtail, it just didn't make sense to put a RSW unit on there. It's not just the unit itself. You'd have to either run it hydraulically off the engine, which means your engine's running a lot, it's idling a lot, or you'd have to put a generator on capable of running that RSW unit, which would probably be in the range of a 15 or 20 kW generator.
And there's self-contained units too, which
there is, yeah.
All of it's just the big cost is one of the big things on that. Investing into the little boat just to fish the salmon on it.
Yeah, it's easily a $40,000 investment for that, and so it didn't pencil out for what we could catch with it and what we could make with it. And so we never went that way. And so now that we'll just be doing our own fish, it would make sense just to go out there and anchor up somewhere, and we can process some fish on here. So so probably next year, I think, for sure.
Yeah, fingers
crossed. We're just kind
crossed.
of getting everything like caught up and put in place, and then next year will be a lot less boat work and just more fishing.
Be able to focus a lot more without a project hanging over our heads and whatnot.
Yeah.
Kathy Lupton asked, "Do you meet the 6,000 goal or the beginning one you had set at 12,000?"
So the 36,000 is what we estimated this whole project would cost. The freezer unit itself is coming in right at about 30,000, 1,000 or two to ship. It's probably about 1,000 to ship it, and then the remainder is just stuff like knives. We use Dexter Russell. Somebody asked that. That's the knives that we use. Is Dexter Russell Santa safes. And so we'll need things like knives and freezer bags. We already have a nice vacuum pack, VacMaster vacuum chamber sealer already that we purchased a few years ago. So we're already set up there. That was a pretty good chunk of money, so that one's nice to have out of the way.
Some
in terms
sanitary
of
supplies and I guess chlorine injector for rinsing flays. Let's see.
So we actually
a few other things.
Yeah, so we were really hesitant to set our goal at 36,000. Our fear was that if we came up short, then we wouldn't be able to basically get the ball rolling on this. We've got an 8 to 12 week lead time on the freezer itself. And so that was the biggest kind of time constraint that we faced. And so we set that goal low at 12,000. We actually met that in I don't know, by that evening of the first day.
Yeah, it was really quick.
It was actually really amazing, and we were super thankful for that. I think we're right at around 27,000 now, and so we're in really good shape as far as all that goes. And so I talked to the guys at IMS yesterday. That's the people that manufacture the freezer units, so they're starting to source the parts for it. They don't keep them in stock because of the cost. It's a lot of inventory just have sitting there, I guess. And so they're basically, the ball is rolling on that. And so we're hopeful that they won't be super busy this year with the downturn in our fisheries. I don't think a lot of guys are investing in new RSW units, and that's their bread and butter there. And so hopefully they can just kind of get it knocked out quick, and we'll be fishing sooner than later. The deeper we go into the fall, I don't want to say the tougher it's going to be, but it does get a little harder. The weather starts to get harder up here.
Yeah, for sure. You go into September, you really start feeling the shift in weather patterns.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the really huge pros of doing this, is that the weather becomes less of a factor for us now. Generally speaking, when you're fishing for any kind of ground fish like cod or rockfish, we have 3 days. So when we put the first fish on board, you want to deliver within 3 days, and then from there on, the processor takes it and they can have fish for 2 or 3 days, and that's kind of the timeline. Everybody wants to see fresher fish than that, so we do a lot of day fishing and fish and run back and try and get it in within 24 hours, particularly the stuff that goes to our customers, to you guys, and just stress that it needs to be done quickly with them. Kind of a lot of kind of setting it up and making sure that they have the space available, and that's getting harder to do, which has really led us into this. So when we look at the weather in that regard, it has a huge effect on us before, especially with our small boats. So if you're out there fishing for a day and a half and it's going to storm the next day for 2 or 3 days, you're forced home, or you're going to be holding your fish way too long and the quality goes down. And now that's not an issue. We'll just go anchor up somewhere, and we can catch enough fish to hold us through a day of processing if it's stormy, and we'll just sit there on the hook and process fish. So it's nice in that regard. It also allows us to go further, to go to different places that we generally don't, because it's too far to travel, too far to run, places that we might not be familiar with, and we don't really necessarily have the time to go in there and look and learn those areas. So we're kind of we go to the same places over and over. Rockfish here on the island is managed by areas, and so as each area closes, we fish further and further away from home. And so sometimes exploring those other places like that, you just don't have a lot of time. You got to look at your weather window, you got to get down there, you got to grab the fish fast and get back home. being able to process on board changes all that for us.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
Silver Goal says g'day.
Silver.
Mark says g'day from Koowanga, Queensland, Australia. Love the detail you go into with the builds. Thanks, Mark. Lots of Australians. Max Chiprat says, "Hi everyone. When are you going to strip the work cover off?" Very soon.
That's coming off today.
Yeah, it's coming off on the stream.
So we don't have to use sodium hypochlorite. We can actually use just regular bleach in a bottle, and you just mix it to a certain ratio. If you have an injection pump is the best way to do it. We'll likely just be using, when guys process at sea, they don't use fresh water for the most part. You just use salt water to process with. And because all you're doing is you're just filleting the fish and you're rinsing them good. And so you use a chlorine injection pump into that seawater stream, and that basically sanitizes it. And then the same when you're like cleaning up and stuff, you can use that. So there's some regulations in it. I have to look into it a little bit more. I'm not like I can't just quote like numbers because I know that I'll get it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Don Allen says, "Ahoy." Ahoy there.
So I'm not sure the exact BTU of the freezer. The model that we're getting can basically freeze 1,000 pounds a day, is what its rating is. I think it's a 20,000 pound or a 20,000 BTU compressor, but I'm not really super duper savvy on refrigeration. I understand the basics of it. I understand how it works. But when it comes to BTUs and all of that, there's a lot of variables in there, so I can't really quote exactly what it's going to take. We're not looking to like cut and freeze 1,000 pounds of fish a day. We know that that's way beyond our capabilities. Eventually, we know that we'll get pretty quick at it, but right now it's just going to be baby steps and
take our time and make sure we have nice fillets, not a bunch of hack jobs.
yeah.
So
and just kind of figuring everything out.
Yeah. Figure out our system. And
Learning. Dobry Klopak. Greetings from Poland. Hello.
Logan, big day. Yes, indeed.
Very big day.
Yeah, I can't tell you how excited we are to get the cover off the side of this boat. We have been looking at this thing for several years now, and I'm tired of squeezing through this tiny little doorway that we have right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's gonna feel good to get this done.
It's ended up pretty tattered too over the course of this project.
Yeah, but that is some amazing covering. If you ever need to cover something up and keep it covered and protect it from the elements and not worry about the wind shredding it like it will a tarp after a month or two. This stuff is Dr. Wrap. I'm sure that there's other makers of it.
Dr. Wrap or Dr. Shrink?
Dr. Shrink. Dr. Shrink Wrap.
Dr. Shrink.
Dr. Shrink.
EIS approved.
Yeah. Yeah. No affiliation, no sponsorship, just good stuff.
Yep.
It was a worthy investment.
Yeah. And it's not terribly expensive either. So it comes in a roll, and at our local hardware store, we can just buy it by the foot. And so if you buy a foot of it, you'll get a foot by 25 feet, and it's like $3.50.
Yeah.
And so really we needed about 10 feet to get from our shelter down. I think maybe even a little bit less. I think we bought 10 foot though. And so I think 30 foot total. It was under $150 to wrap what we needed. And it has held up phenomenally.
Scott Williamson says, "Hey, I'm a very small-scale fisherman from Shetland Islands in Scotland, and jig for cod and mackerel mostly. Love your content and learned a lot from you. Thank you very much."
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We're happy to kind of share the info.
Yeah, we like to see that kind of from everybody. We're starting to see a lot of shifts, not only in fishing, but just all of our food chains, really, away from the big industrialized kind of processing and more than anything control over our food chains. And I think that's really important to support those kind of people if you have the opportunity. Honestly, the prices usually are more than you can get it from a big supplier, but you're also going to get a lot better quality, and you're going to get people that care about the product that they're putting out, and so that's important for a lot of people too. And when you're buying from, whether it's a local farmer or a rancher, or even just small businesses that are manufacturing things, within your community or just anywhere within your country or whatever, it's good to know that those dollars have a lot more impact when they're being circulated through the economies, and not just going into some shareholder's pocket somewhere. And so we try and do our best to kind of support other small businesses like ours, because the people that are buying our fish are the people that we want to also help support in the businesses they work for.
Mm-hmm. Rob Deaton asks, "Okay, how's the wiring on the ship coming along? I see a mess of wires behind you." And it's coming pretty good. That's actually, I just tidied those up yesterday. Got them zip tied up.
There isn't any wire chases or anything in here, so
Yeah.
This is how we wire our boats in Alaska.
And if you're talking
I
about
shouldn't say all that.
that's actually one of the ballasts for our sodiums that we gotta build a case for it still. So
Yeah, I don't know if we ever showed those, but we put some sodiums on the boat.
we showed them.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah, I showed them, well, briefly. Need to get up close and personal, but yeah.
Yeah.
Got to go. Just wanted to say thank you for your content. Thank you for tuning in, Tendril. Take care.
So I don't think that we're gonna split up and one of us run the fishtail and one run the Emerald Isle anytime soon. It's not from a standpoint of making more money and being more efficient for us. It's more of a standpoint of enjoying each other's company and working together. It's getting a good crew is extremely hard. There's a lot of kind of unsavory characters, just like any other business. It is really dependent on manual labor. And just getting folks up here to work can be really hard sometimes. They come here, they live on your boat, and so if you have any problems with them at all, it's just, it's problems that you have to deal with. I just can't stress how much that I love fishing with my family, and that's just the people that I want to work with. Once in a while, very rarely we've had other people on the boat. We've taken some people that, for instance, owned halibut IFQs, and we take them on the boat, and basically we're fishing. Well, they're walk-ons is what it's called. If they don't have a boat, they can still just get on a boat as long as it's licensed to catch that fish, and you can go out and harvest their fish with them. We've done that before. It's always gone well.
You get a couple of characters.
We've had a few characters, yeah. But nothing like really no terrible
Yeah,
stories at least.
no horror stories.
And but other than that, we've never hired any crew except for just a friend that went and did a couple trips with me on the fishtail, and that was, gosh, 20 years ago, I think.
Way long ago, yeah.
Well, that was right before Tristan was born, actually, because Mom was pregnant and couldn't go fishing. And she fished until she was like 8 months pregnant, and I said, all right, that's it. You're done. You're hitting the beach and staying there. Yeah. So, yeah, not a big fan of hiring crew. I'm sure at some point maybe we'll get some guys, and I'm sure that we'll hopefully not go through too many before we can find some guys that we can really trust,
solid people,
and work well with. And there is a lot of guys out there in the fleet, don't get me wrong, but there's also guys that just continually struggle for good crew, and so that can really be a challenge.
Michael Woods says, love you guys. Do your products come with prep ideas? Sort of. Well, no, not really. We had some episodes on YouTube that are our series called Catch, Clean, and Cook, but
they've been infrequent, to say the least.
Yeah. We haven't done one of those for like 3 or 4 years now.
It's something that we're gonna work on and devote more time to.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and kind of on that note, we're gonna I think set up some kind of, I guess, portal or something to where folks can, submit recipes that they enjoy for fish, whatever kind. And our thought was that we could pick one and do a catch, clean, and cook on it or something. And so not only does that kind of expose folks to different recipes, but us as well.
Yeah, we kind of get into a core group of recipes, I guess you could say, and it does get a little bit boring.
Yeah.
So a little bit of new recipe ideas is always good.
Yeah, and so that's our intention, is not only to incorporate it into some catch, clean, and cooks and get some new content out there, but then also get some recipes on our website that people can go to for ideas. And I think that'd be really cool. So if you guys have any recipes out there, you can send them our way, and we're kind of trying to figure out how we might incorporate that with our customers too, and at the very least just at least credit their recipes and stuff on our website.
Yeah. Working on it.
So Mom, my wife, she is busy today. I kind of scheduled this beforehand, and I didn't clear it with the boss, and so she had other obligations today, and so we're here without her. We're winging it on our own. But she says hi to everybody, and thanks y'all for your support on everything, making this happen for us. It's really been quite amazing, the amount of support that we've gotten, not only for our channel but our business, our new venture, our Kickstarter. Yeah, so we couldn't have done it without you guys, and we're just really blown away and amazed by all the support over the years that we've had.
Yeah. Our supporters really came through in our time of need.
Yeah.
Yep. Big Lori Ball, now that you can do catch, clean, cook at sea. We'd like to do the day life of fishing. Almost all of our videos are pretty much just out on deck and then offloading at the plant. We'd love to kind of just wake up, grab the camera, and kind of just show our day-to-day of what we do and how we actually live out on the boat.
All the little aspects.
Yeah, because everything for us it's just second nature. Like, you don't really think there's anything special to it. You just get up and do your work and go. But
as we've kind of grown as a channel and gotten more comments, we realize that that a lot of people don't understand what is going on, and for us to just explain things over and over, we kind of forget that, like Matt said, it is second nature, and so we have to explain what's going on and be more detailed. And so we're always kind of trying to work on that and keep that in the back of our heads. We do kind of tend to forget, and we just, I guess you kind of say you go into robot mode.
Yeah.
And that's the autopilot. That's what we do. You know, for fishing, for us, it's extremely repetitive work. We just do the same thing over and over and over again. And so we do forget to explain things a lot. And if there's other aspects of the fishery or the boat or anything you guys would like to see, let us know so we can keep that in mind and work that into it. And it gives us some fresh ideas, some different things to explore.
Yeah.
Well, we are 50 minutes into the live stream, so we should probably ought to at least show the people around a little bit.
Our focus got bad.
Yeah, I think the internet phased out for a second there.
Yeah. So we're actually mooching off the Starlink on the fishtail right now. So we do have a Starlink on our boat. We'll be moving that over here, but it's just going through the router. The Starlink's really good, but it does get laggy once in a while and occasionally drops. But it's a lot better than. Well, the best thing about it for us is to live stream, and that's one reason we hadn't done it before. Actually, is that it would just eat up all the data on our cell phone plan. But with Starlink, it's unlimited, so it's super nice to be able to use it.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to doing more live streams, especially out in the water.
Yeah, and we'll be able to do it out in the water as well, like Matt said.
Hopefully it clears up.
I think it probably did, maybe. It might just be my options on there, because it looks clear on the phone screen, so.
Oh, hey.
What?
Yeah, it's only showing 720 on here, so.
The kiwi fruit says, "Greetings from the beautiful Manawatu, New Zealand. Love the channel, guys. Can't wait till you guys get back on the water. Us too. We're excited to get back. We want to get this boat going." Oops. Dan Smith asks, "Do you still have hats available? I made sure I was home from the boat to see this. Thank you for sharing."
We do have hats available still.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, Dan. Glad you can make it.
I don't see an option for improving the quality, so I think it's just dependent on what our internet is currently doing.
Yeah, sometimes it'll just get laggy for a minute or two.
Is
and
there like
then
a piece of fuzz on the
it
camera or something?
clear
That's
up.
just on the lens.
Oh.
Yours looks better now.
How well does the Starlink work offshore for you guys? That works great, Robert. It is kind of a power hog. It's the marine version of it. It's just a bigger base dish than what you usually see. But yeah, it works good.
Yeah.
It never cuts out or anything that we've really noticed, and yeah.
Yeah, it's actually incredible to have. Before, we don't have cell coverage around the island, and so usually when we get, well, for us it'd be about a 7-hour run from town, but it's I guess about 60 miles or so away, and that's where we lose cell phone coverage. Going down the east side, if you go around the west side, it's even less. It's within like 3 hours you're out of cell phone range. And so it's really incredible to have, of course, having Starlink. That also allows us to use our computers and then we can Wi-Fi through the Starlink, so Wi-Fi calls work. We can FaceTime our family and Anita if she's in town, my wife. So it's really, really nice to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the quality there, Robert. If it doesn't clear up automatically, then apologies. We're kind of streaming noobs, so.
Did you turn off the cell phone on there?
No, I forgot to. But
Wonder if it's that.
let's see. I don't know if this will drop it or not.
I think you can swipe away for a second.
All right, are we still here?
It's buffering. I wonder if it was going through the cell phone.
All right, we're still here.
We're still here?
Oh, there it goes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we probably just scarfed up all our data for the month.
Great.
The boss will be mad. Yeah, so I think what happens sometimes when we've noticed this at home too, because we have Starlink there and we have bad cell phone coverage in our area where our house is, and if the cell phone thing is on and the Starlink drops for a minute, then it'll try and pick up on the cell phone data and go through there. So yeah, that's what it was. We just had to turn that off and we're good to go now, it looks like. So thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin, for the $20 super chat.
We appreciate your support.
Thank you very much. Quality just improved.
Oh, good.
Yeah, good now.
Right on.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I guess if you guys would like to kind of see around a bit, we can give you a short tour. Of course, it's a pretty small boat, so it doesn't take too long. And then we'll probably just set our camera up and start tearing off this covering on the back because we're tired of it. And then it'll force us to clean up all our tools and stuff on deck.
Yep. Get our deck in order.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And we can still answer questions as we go.
Yeah, keep them coming. Yeah.
I can read them off the phone.
Yep. He'd probably be our cameraman and follow us around, and we'll just kind of putter around a bit on some stuff. But yeah, we've been looking forward to getting this covering off the boat. We got the name on the stern the other day. We'll go check that out. Welding's pretty much all done on our bulwarks. There's a few spots underneath the cap rail, but the covering's not gonna like help us out anyways. Some of it's outside, so we just have to have decent weather to do that. All in all, it's turned out really well, and we're happy.
Yeah. So a little tour then.
Yeah, it is much bigger than the fishtail, Rob. I think the deck sideways is nearly the same length as the deck on the fishtail. So at midships on here we're 14 and a half feet, and I want to say the deck length on the fishtail is about 16 feet maybe.
I think, yeah, that sounds about right.
Maybe a little bit shorter. I might have to go and measure it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be actually shorter than that. I know the back part is 7 foot, and so the forward part is it's about 15 foot. And lengthwise on here, it's 25 foot. So it's huge. It's
a lot more real estate.
It's just like having a big football field back there. It's still, even after having the boat for this long, it's still hard to get used to the amount of space back there.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice.
Robert Malice, question, will he be seeing T more often? You probably, like, yeah, so, yeah, probably. I mean, we're gonna need, like, a lot of manpower when we're processing our own, stuff. So, yeah,
Answer yes.
Put you on the spot, huh?
A little bit.
JN, do we still have our drone? Yeah, we still have the drone.
We need to fly it more.
Yeah, we just hard to find the time to fly it, but definitely. Actually, I wanted to wait on the fly around in the harbor here until we got the cover off, so I'll try and get that on our next nice sunny day.
Michael Anderson asks, "Hi guys, do you offer halibut steaks? Do you ship to Alberta, Canada?"
So in the past, we haven't had stakes put up just because it's just a little bit more complicated. So with halibut, we won't be able to process that on board, unfortunately. Our longer term plan is to put just a small processing setup at our home, and then we can legally process halibut, but it has to be landed and processed in a shoreside plant for halibut, just because that's the landing regulations. That's so people don't just cheat, basically, because it's a privatized fishery, and there's a lot of regulations that go with that. We should be able to fish to Canada, though. A lot of people have been asking us. I know Gold VP, if you're watching, he's been asking us. There's some other folks that have asked us about shipping to Canada. I don't really see a problem with it. Once we get some fish, we're gonna shoot some off to a couple of people as kind of a test, and make sure that we don't run into any problems. And then if it all goes smoothly, then we'll be open for business with you guys too. And that'll be pretty cool.
All right. Yeah. Can get this thing, huh? Go down.
Oh yeah. See if we can
get this tour underway.
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. Let's spin you around here.
Now, hopefully we don't drop here, because it's kind of...
Yeah.
Connection in the engine room's kind of iffy.
It was usually okay when I was welding down there, because I had my earbuds in.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
It usually didn't drop, but I don't know if it was buffering a lot either. So
yeah.
So one thing about this boat too is that it's really deep. So dropping down in the forecastle is like dropping down into a manhole. So we draw 6 foot at the water line on here, compared to about 3 foot on the fishtail. And so, this is how we get down. Which way am I pointed? So they basically just saw my face. Okay. Yep. So yeah, so here's the steps down. Pretty good bit of a climb. This is a forecastle. It's very small. There's only 2 bunks. It kind of needs to be reconfigured, but it'll work for now. This is our plumbing supplies and wire and junk. It's still just kind of a mess because we're just finishing things up. Storage under the bunk, basically oil, some toolboxes, big pile of stuff there that needs to come off, hydraulic hoses, some electrical. A lot of this stuff is from the old compressor, the old freezer system that was on here. So here's our gen set right here. So this is a 30 kW gen set. It's 3-phase. Runs really well. Here's our main, just an old 671. Same thing, runs really well. It's not like your kind of run-of-the-mill ones that seem to leak everywhere. This is actually a really clean and doesn't seem to sweat oil out of every. So that's nice. Let me see if I can zoom out here for you guys. Unfortunately. Okay, so oh, I'm breaking up. Am I breaking up, Matt? It says I'm
breaking up, they say.
Okay. Well, so we might have to do the engine room tour separately. I was afraid of that, so.
Yep. A lot of stuff to go through for the signal there.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll do We'll do a little engine room tour separately on that at some point here in the near future. Maybe in the next day or two we can get down there and just kind of get a good overview, show you the crab pump and all the plumbing that we put in there. It turned out real good. We're happy with that. The fuel tanks, of course, that we rebuilt, and we'll just kind of give you an overview of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, over here toward the dash. I don't know if we've really shown, but so we've got our circuit breaker panel there. It's like really old. This came with the boat. Really, just that set of breakers are new. We plan to swap that out with the new Blue Seas panel that we have over there on the day bunk. And we've had a couple of comments on our gauge panel there, old GM diesel panel. People like that.
This area hasn't got a whole lot of attention.
Yeah.
Other than upgrade of the autopilot and Mather's micro commanders. They just did away with the old stuff there. New windows up forward. They still need to be trimmed out.
Yep, it's kind of a mess up there. There's really
still stuff to do.
We haven't finished quite yet up there.
A lot of it is, things that you can just do as time goes by. It doesn't need to be finished before we fish. It's okay.
Yep, just hook up your electronics and go.
Pretty much.
And over this way, let's see, got the microwave, a little battery charging station.
Microwave that I don't think we've ever used.
I don't think so. Yeah, little galley area here. We showed this last time, but there might be some new folks in here. Under all the power tools there is our oil stove, old Dickinson. Pretty reliable units, those. Wiring needs a little attention. Yeah, it's worse than it looks. We at least got rid of all the old wiring, or at least most of it. So we're all up to snuff on the quality of it, at least. Here we have a lot of our placards that we'll be needing for our processing, as well as safety Coast Guard sticker requirements and whatnot. You guys cook much when out? Yeah, we do. We do cook some prepared meals. We like, I think one of our go-tos is Zataraini's jambalaya with some bratwurst sausage in it. It's pretty good.
That's like a staple, like a first night out staple.
Yeah, we always save that one for out fishing because that's our boat treat.
Yeah. Spaghetti, chili.
Yeah.
Those are easy boat ones.
Yeah, we try and do nice hearty meals. So yeah, let's go out on deck, shall we?
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah, there's the day bunk. Currently the supply bunk.
And we also got a fridge here. Which is actually kind of a big upgrade from the fishtail, which is like,
yeah,
we would just have a cooler that we'd put on the ice, and it works, but it's like a little inconvenient to get to, and like,
yep,
when it's like rocking around, it like becomes a pain.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the head is over here in the corner too. You want to pop that door open to you?
Yeah.
So we will
Combination head shower.
The shower head froze up last year, so it had to go. And let's go down. There we go. And there's our nice little mirror that came with the boat.
Yeah. Cute little
Hello.
mirror. The old barometer.
Yeah.
Does it work anymore?
Yeah, I think it works actually. It's a little tarnished, but yeah.
I don't even know how to read those things.
Yeah, someone says they like the dirty rice. The dirty rice is good too.
Yeah, dirty rice is good. So, yeah, you can see our big pile of junk on the work table here. It's pretty much just become a collect-all for anything and everything. But as we move back in the deck here, you can see it is all wrapped up. And it turned out great.
You need a phone for questions?
Yeah, that might be good.
Yeah. So there is 3 bunks now, 2 forward, 1 up top. I think it's because the former owner, he just did some trolling and a little bit of shrimp fishing down in southeast. So it was just him and usually another guy. So at some point they converted that forecastle and I think they tore out a bunk.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was probably 3 in there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So we have some big plans going forward that'll have to all kind of get squared away and make more space. It was a pretty cozy ride from Juneau up to here for 4 of us, but it worked out fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Definitely future plans there.
Yep.
So, yeah, the deck turned out really nice. We got our last 2 planks in there. We just have a few bolts left to put in on this one, every other bolt. But that's a removable panel. Yeah, it looks great, I agree. And we also got our hay rack mounts put on. Just threw a bolt through them. We'll come back through later and put a sleeve through to keep any water and stuff out from the inside of them. Ignore that big hole there. There was just a rail that used to rub on that specific part of the legs, so we just got to make a couple of hatches.
Yeah, this whole thing was basically a little bit shorter because the deck was lower here.
Yep.
I don't know if we showed much back here, but yeah, so this is the deck. So this is where we get to our Lazarette now. Over here. So we kind of designed all this stuff so it's really easy to get into. These just drop into place. Super easy to get into. You can step down here and then you can get to your hatch. So this leads to the Lazarette. This is basically where the steering gear is. Not much to see. This is really shallow back here because of the fantail on the boat. Right past the rudder post right here, it pretty much just dives down and gets deep very quickly. But there's enough room to get down in here, move around, work around. We just kind of have some miscellaneous junk down here right now.
And that used to be the troll pit.
Yeah, this was the troll pit at one point on this boat. So a guy would have been working at this level here, and the rail was at this level. So it's changed it quite a bit.
Yeah, if you go back to our playlist, it's pretty much the first project we did.
Way back
Yeah.
to the beginning.
Yep.
Yep. And we did eventually seal this. I remember somebody was quite concerned about this ring not being sealed. It is sealed in. You don't see any bolts through this deck ring like most guys have. That's because I hate putting bolts through deck rings. And so when we replaced the one on the fishtail years ago, what we did is that we welded plugs on the bottom side of this to the tab. And so this drops in, the plug goes through a counter bore in the substrate, the wood, basically. And then there's a backing plate and a bolt that comes underneath and it draws the plate down. And so what you have is a nice smooth finish, which isn't as critical on here because you're not sliding anything across it. But you also don't have all these holes going through the ring, and that's always the first place that these start to fail, is that you get all these holes in there and the corrosion from the stainless steel bolt going through it. It's just a mess. So That's all finished up and sealed now. Turned out really good.
Matthew Conway with a $15 super chat. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So this is the one for the Lazarette, and there's a second one up here that this one right here, and same thing, this just goes to our tankage compartment. I guess we might as well show it, huh?
Yeah, you could just show it. There might be new people here that haven't seen it yet.
So going into this deck, we weren't really sure how all these were going to work out, and at some point, I guess we just had a bit of an epiphany, and it came together, and we're really happy with how well they turned out. It looks like we actually had it planned out.
Yeah.
Beforehand, it just kind of like sorted itself out.
Yeah, you had like a layout sheet that you made in SketchUp, and we.
Turned out completely different.
Yeah, a lot of it's the same, but some of it we did end up different.
As far as how we were going to put these in, it's quite a bit different. So same thing, just easy to lift off. Kind of had to make this one a little bit bigger because these are our fill pipes for our 2 fuel tanks. We didn't want to just put a hole in a board and have some weird thing that you had to open up to get in there. So we just made it a little bit longer. That way we could access those. Our water one here for our freshwater tank is right here. It's a little bit weird, but it's okay. Matt did put a deck ring here to raise it up off the deck. That kind of keeps the water from driving underneath of it. These have both been resealed, so I'm not concerned about them. And then if we need to get back into here, we can.
Rob just asked where our long line reel will be placed. Probably right around here.
I think our long line reel is going to be right here, just for the fact that we'll put in 2 heavy brackets underneath here, and being able to get under here and access the underneath of here, we can through bolt it through the deck beams, and so we get a really good attachment point. And they'll probably just be like 2 stainless brackets, one on each side, and then we'll put line nuts on it so we can just drop the reel in and just 4 bolts and drop them in there and tighten it down, and we're done.
Yep.
Kind of the same thing we got going on the fishtail. It's like a 15-minute job to drop the reel on there and bolt it down, and it's just simple that way. One of the good things about having a permanent mount on there is that you're not constantly taking it on and off and tearing up your deck or having to reseal it. That can be a pretty big hassle. So we'll probably do something similar in that regard. And the biggest thing is to be able to get underneath and get it bolted in really good to something solid. You don't want to just rely on legging it into the deck, really.
Yeah. There's our tankage compartment, and the fuel's all hooked up. Water's hooked up. It's not pretty to look at. We'll be the first to admit it. This whole thing will be replaced in time. So, yep. Pretty typical, like Dad says. The Lazarette / tankage compartments are often pretty dewy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't take care in the initial construction, if you have raw wood or anything like that, that's just an eventuality.
Yep, it's gonna start to fail after a while.
Yep. So when we redo it, we'll do the same thing we did with the bulkhead, the laminated foam, and all that fancy jazz.
And forward, this next one is just our back hold. So we kind of got the same thing going on. These holes right here will be for our bolt downs, and then also lifting hooks, because these planks are just screwed into the hatch itself, and so they all lift off at one. I don't know if I have one. These are the brackets right here that will be mounted on the hatch combing inside the fish hold, and then a bolt goes into here to tighten the hatch down and draw it down and keep it nice and secured and watertight. There's a gasket underneath of it, so any water that washes across the deck and hits the hatch combing won't run up and inside into the fish hold.
Rob Deaton asks, where will the freezer be placed? Which hold?
Still working that one out. We might make it so it can go on either one. We're kind of looking at how we want to do that. They're basically designed so you would mount it on the hatch with the compressor and condenser and all the controls on the top side, and then the evaporator hanging down underneath in the fish hold. We're kind of thinking about going with a raised hatch instead that can accommodate that, and that way it keeps the control box up off the deck, and it's less likely to get wet, to get hit with waves or anything like that, or just water washing across the deck. And it also allows us more flexibility that we could position it over either fish hold. So still kind of working that out. We're not exactly sure yet. It'd be nice to probably be able to either use the back hold to hold the frozen product and freeze, or the front one, depending on the timing and where we're fishing and what time of the year it is. So more to come on that one.
Yep, definitely.
Got a little bit of time to work it out.
Go more in depth on upcoming video, I suppose.
Yeah.
Especially once we start like getting the dimensions and everything. We just kind of inquired about that the other day. I got a user booklet with all dimensions and whatnot. So yeah.
The processing area itself will be over in this area here, because this is like the least used portion of the deck, pretty much on any boat. It's kind of always this corner. We'll be hauling all our gear off the starboard side, which is pretty normal. The back area, depending on what we got going on with halibut or jigging or whatever, those rails are pretty much used, and a lot of that is the work area. So this is kind of like the area that is least used on a boat, and this is where we put our processing area. We have materials to put a wave wall up, so that would basically extend from somewhere in here all the way forward and enclose this and make it watertight. It'll have about a 5-foot ceiling on it, and then this tarp can just come down and hook onto it. So that's kind of the plan there, and that'll give us a nice enclosure. By regulation, all we're required to actually have is just a covering over our processing area.
Britton can't hear. Yeah, I was gonna ask how the quality of the sound is. Here we go, I'll get a little closer.
So the regulations on processing on board, we're just required to have a covering over our area. We're not actually required to have walls or anything, but we will put a wall in here. We've got the materials over on the fishtail to do that, and at least it gets us enclosed on two sides, you know, your side that's overboard and stuff, and it'll make it more comfortable to where it keeps us out of the wind and things like that.
Mom says it's a little blurry.
It's a little blurry again. Yeah, it's probably just the Starlink, I'm guessing.
Yep, we'll just have to bear with it, I think.
Blake Jenkins asks, what fuel for the stove?
Oh, it runs off diesel. So it's just, most of these stoves like this, you can hook them up one or two ways. You can either have what would be like a gravity feed day tank that you just fill up with fuel. You either pump it out of one of your tanks, or you fill it when you go to the fuel dock. Or you can just have a small pulse pump. That's what we have on the fishtail to feed the carburetor on those stoves. And so we just pull right off one of our fuel tanks into a pulse pump, and that feeds the carburetor on the diesel stove. It's really slick and low maintenance.
I got you, Bree. No worries. It was his audio was muted. Okay.
Oh.
Well, we are at 84 minutes, so we should probably give the people what they've all been waiting for here.
Yeah.
Start tearing down. Yeah. Are we excited?
Yes, we are.
I'm excited. So we already kind of started, well, not today, this is a few days ago, but we cleared out the stuff over here. Is kind of just Well, there was a pile of buckets there and just a corner of blue tarp, and our furnace was over right here, and it's gone away now. Kind of miss it. It's a little bit cold, but
It actually is a little cold right now too.
that is the way of progress. So
It'll motivate us.
right. So Dad is getting a knife. Start cutting away this white stuff. There's a Dexter in the sink there, Dad.
Silver Gold was asking about the little boat on the hay rack.
The little boat on the hay rack?
Our little skiff.
The little dinghy.
Oh, the little
Little dinghy.
dinghy, yeah.
We never found out what happened to it. It was gone.
Yeah, it must have blown off. I saw a boat that looked similar to it on one of the local marketplaces on Facebook,
Marketplace.
and it didn't click at the time because we didn't know it was off the hay rack. But later it came down and it was gone, and it's like,
It was kind of like right in the same time frame, so we're thinking that was probably it. But
Yeah.
of course, the post was gone later, so we don't know.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's too bad because it would have been kind of nice to have.
yeah,
Not gonna lie.
little dinghy. Didn't even get to like hop in it or anything.
Barely even looked at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what's the plan here? Where are we starting?
Well, I think probably just over here. Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yep. Cut down some wires.
The big yellow one's for our shore power. This other one is just for our lights in our hay rack.
And hopefully the impact drivers aren't too obnoxious for you guys. I know they can get a little bit loud, but
But I'm sorry, we're not taking these off by hand. Sorry, T. Didn't break yet.
some hydraulic tube for our fuel lines.
It's been kicking around now,
Yeah,
but it's out of the way.
and now it's in the way.
Yeah. All right, so. Where'd the drivers go?
Oh, good, the sun's coming out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a nice sunny day. It's been on and off.
No, you're just in time, Straw. We just started the tearing down.
I guess some of these are still good. The ones that are roached out, you can just toss those.
Yeah, there you go. Throw in that one if you want to. Are you putting up any rails? We will put rails up, Bryn. Maybe not right away, just depending how busy we get. Kind of looking to do some halibut here soon on the little boat. So, but we will definitely put some rails up. The good thing is that these new bulwarks are substantially higher than the old ones were. So. Hello, Marty from California. So I think we just have it pinned along the top on the outside with the backing strips, and then cut those green twines up there, and that whole wood panel will pretty much drop.
Poke a few holes.
Yeah, just cut it open.
So this stuff isn't really worth recycling, because we've already got like a lot of spots where we had frames and strips outside. I hate to be wasteful, but not really very salvageable.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, it's like a giant window.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, giant window. Now the wind's coming in.
Weird.
I should have set the drone up for this. The fuel tank rebuild went good, Marty. There's fuel in the port one now. The hydraulic tank is all done. We ended up just putting the starboard tank on hold. It's not a priority now. We have plenty of fuel capacity, so we'll get back to that a little bit later. Catch it all on camera. The decking is similar to Trek's. It's a little bit different because the filler in it is a mineral, a crushed rock of some sort, so it's not organic like the Trek's you see, so it won't rot over time. It's pretty nice. It's really nice material to work with too.
So I'm really glad that we went with the cap rail that we did on here. We were thinking about just using pipe at first, and we decided to go with this rectangular tube. And it's really nice to be able to stand on it.
Ours is called lumber rock, Bree. The decking material.
Alright, here we go.
This is gonna be really weird. Being all open. Ugh, dirt.
It's gross.
Ugh.
It's like 2 years of grunge under there.
Yeah. Or are they supposed to be thrown away? You could just throw away.
Yeah, there's not much value in those strips anymore.
Should just be staples there.
Oh yeah, I didn't pull it up on this side. Yeah, that's true, Bree. They use this stuff in a lot of marinas, and so that was kind of one reason that we got it. We were hopeful that it'll hold up better than the other stuff. So this is the door that we've been going in and out of for quite some time.
It used to look better at one point.
It was quite a bit larger until we put the bulwarks on, and then since then it's become very uncomfortable to get in and out of. I don't know if you guys saw the name on the back. We got that on the other day. Turned out real good. This is kind of the first look at this for us too. We've lifted up the size to do some work in welding and fit these plates in, but for the most part, I just hitched them up a little bit. So we're actually kind of starting to see what everything looks like here. What you doing, Matt?
Setting up the other camera.
Yeah, we used crushed walnut on the fishtail, Robert, when we redid the deck on there and gel coated it. So we put down a layer of gel coat and sprinkled crushed walnut on it, and then went back over it with gel coat, and it held up really well. But you were right. You did not want to fall down on that deck, or you would be hamburger. We'll probably do the same thing up here on the bow because it's steep and it's slippery up there. And cut some holes in that, T.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Where?
Anywhere.
Direct me.
This stuff is all just stuck on here anyways, so yeah. You can just start peeling it off. Yay! I'm really excited to see how it'll look
Yeah, me too.
without the distraction of the tent.
That one just turned off.
Probably.
GoPros.
Straw Carpenter says rip it off, T.
Cut those green flames, my buddy.
Just rip that stuff off. Careful, that's gonna flop down on you when you do. But you could go tear off this white stuff off the back there if you want.
Like a present from Claus.
Yes, just rip it. There you go. Just rip it off. Hello world.
Hello, world.
Well, the only bad thing is now our privacy screen is gone.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
It's tough stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to get the truck and haul some stuff off tonight, maybe.
Yeah. All this timber home.
Yeah. Our air compressor and some of the high-ticket items. Wow, that was a long time ago, huh, Lori? I tell you what, it was really worth it to get a good enclosure, and having our furnace on here was a great investment. We actually picked that up from another fisherman. He's over here. He had used it on his fiberglass project. And so our heater was just a forced air diesel heater that are really common up here in mobile homes. And I'm guessing they might be pretty similar down south, but maybe natural gas down there. But really quite bulletproof and easy to work on, easy to use. And that's what really made this whole project possible, was keeping heat in here during the winter. And of course, a good enclosure that's watertight, waterproof, so we didn't ruin our expensive materials. So at some point the gray covering will come off. That actually came with the boat, and that was on there, so the former owner could legally process on board. So whenever we're processing fish on here, that'll likely be on at least until we get more of like maybe a removable processing hut that we can just drop on board. I think that's kind of our end game on that. Looks different.
Yeah. Already.
Now there's a little fishtail. It's all covered with stuff right now. Got all our extra aluminum and stuff over there. We got to get the old girl cleaned up here soon. She's next for a big overhaul. Yeah, so legally we can gill and gut our fish. I think salmon fishermen, at least trollers, I think they can head and gut. I think you actually need a processing permit for that though too. But we can gill and gut our fish, but that's it as far as what you can do without a processing permit. Anything beyond that, even heading the fish and freezing on board, all that has to be done under a processing permit. But you don't need one for like different types of processing. Processing permit basically covers everything that you intend to do. You just mark it on there what you're going to do, and then show them your setup, and have like a flow chart and a HACCP plan for the different processors or processes that you intend to do with the different species that you want to do on your boat. So someone commented on the size of our harbor and how many boats there are in it. So this is our small boat harbor. We actually have another one that's across the channel over on Near Island, and that has a lot of small boats like this, from pleasure boat size all the way up to 150-foot crabbers over there. And so it's probably, I want to say, almost 4 times the footprint of the small boat harbor. But all in all, we're like the 5th biggest port in the nation as far as vessels go. I'm not sure the exact count, but there's a lot of boats here. She looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little bit worried how it'd look as far as like proportionally, but it looks good.
Like the rails.
Yeah. And bear in mind that we're really high and dry right now too. So when we tank down, so We never showed it, but we did get the front fish hold plumbed, and we did flood it completely. And the boat sat great. It pretty much went straight down in the water, which is what we wanted. It didn't, you know, sit stern heavy. It trimmed out really, really nice. And it was probably about half the distance that's showing on the water line. So once she's loaded, she'll be sitting real nice in relation to the rails above the water and everything. She'll look real good. And this back rack is kind of designed to come on and off too, so it'll be really easy to take off. We'll incorporate all our rails into it, and then also just have them so that they can be put on and off simply with just the same little bracket that's going over there, over the cap rail. And that'll make it easy to take on and off depending on what fishery that we're doing. Kind of the name of the game is to make changeovers between fisheries as simple as possible and quick. So yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
Like so long ago that we put these up here.
Thanks, Lori. So I don't know if we've shown pie very much, but we did trim down our stabilizer poles and the upper mast and everything. You can see the three green shapes right there. Those are our sodiums. 1,000 watts each. A lot of people commented on why we didn't put LEDs on there. Quite simply the cost of them. They're, for good quality ones, they're over $2,000 each. Actually, they're about $2,500 each. And they still have problems with them. Our neighbor here has a LED on his boat. He says that he wished he would have put a sodium. One of the bars burned out on it, so he's a little unhappy with that. Our sodiums were brand new. We got them off eBay. They're old, new stock. They're actually discontinued. But the thing about sodiums is if the bulb burns out, you put in a new bulb. If the ballast burns out, you can just get a new ballast. And so all told, with shipping and everything included, those were about $8.50 each. And so, and they will light up the night. Yeah, we'll be able to put the reel on just fine. It'll clear the shed. We'll have to move the gray tarp, of course, and pull it back, and then we should just be able to lower it. And it's not terribly heavy to kind of wiggle and push into place. It'll slide good on this plastic decking anyways. So that'll be easy. Yeah, we're really happy with how the rails came out and everything. We actually had to cut this one out and redo it, but it was worth it. Yeah, our boys work together good. I think that that's kind of true in a lot of family businesses. There's families that work together really well, and I'm blessed to have children that work with me well and aren't annoyed by their father. And then there's other families that just cannot coexist for any amount of time. And so we've been blessed to have these guys and have them part of our business and our lives. I can't imagine not having them out with me fishing all the time. They're saying hurry up and rip it off.
Hurry, hurry, hurry.
That's exactly what needs to be done. Might have to get on the rails sooner than later. We do have the material already for rails, so that's good. Yeah, it does, Zed. It wasn't obvious when you looked at it until you looked down from the top of the rail, and you could see the twist in the back of the plate. And then, of course, if you were looking at the stern from the back of the boat, and you looked straight across the stern, you could see that it had a bad twist in it. It was like over 1.5 inches from on the top, and so it would have looked horrible. Eventually, we'll put in like a fully enclosed shelter deck, kind of like over there on the shoe yak. That's a pretty normal thing, is to have a fully enclosed shelter deck. And we'll probably enclose the back of this, and if we'd left it that way, it would have been really noticeable and horrible looking. So sometimes that just happens on a project. When you're covered up like this, you don't have a good sight line sometimes, and you miss things like that. And then once you stand back and you get a better look at it, you realize that, oh boy,
Something is amiss.
something's amiss, and I'm glad we fixed it.
Gosh, it's getting lighter and lighter in here.
Yeah, William said we can turn off the lights.
Yeah.
It's still pretty brown here, but it'll be green before we know it. It happens really fast here. And we'll have a million shades of green. I know, it's crazy. Yeah, so you can get the tape for this stuff, and that stuff, even 2 years in, and it stuck really well. We never had to go back and maintain it at all. Carefully, Matt. Well, starting to get the good look at her now. Yeah, it's true, huh, Rob? It just happens overnight, practically. We start getting some sunny days here. We'll get some green quick. The buds are just starting to pop out on our trees at home, and we're a little bit behind. Downtown, it always greens up faster. It's kind of in a bowl right here. Well, people will just have to watch the live stream, I guess.
Yep.
Our GoPros,
We got the other one.
our old GoPros are getting kind of tired. I think we're gonna switch over to DJI. Yeah, we're gonna try them. I think DJI seems a little more interested in R&D and fixing things.
Definitely, yeah.
As opposed to, well, I'm not going after the screw, but at least I got the plastic. Yeah, the GoPro, I just don't think that they're very serious about making their product better.
Yeah, they're kind of they just coast on their current stuff.
Yeah.
They, like, increase some resolution, but like ultimately it like isn't enough.
Well, I think the biggest issue with them is the batteries. They don't want to make better batteries, and the batteries are the biggest. The frustration, you turn it on and it says it has 94% batteries, and then it beeps at you 15 seconds later after you walk away, and it's dead. So, and we've replaced the batteries pretty frequently on them, but yeah, we're gonna try something else. We're using a DJI Osmo gimbal for our cell phone here, and it's really cool. So that's why I actually have a fairly stable shot going on here.
People are gonna come walking down the dock and say, "What boat is this?"
Yeah, we've been hidden away. Gosh, it's been so long since we've seen it opened up. I actually forgot how it looked. It's beautiful. So much room compared to the fishtail. Hey, you're here just in time, Debbie. We probably started like 20 minutes ago, but I'll swing around and get a shot from the other side here in a second for you. So we put the name on the stern, I guess last week. Captured some footage of it, so it'll be a video at some point. Yeah, it's kind of big, Robert. It looks pretty good, I think, as far as proportionally. It seemed like pretty tall. We actually raised it up, of course, because the deck got raised. And I didn't want the boys to be knocking their head on it every time they walked underneath it. So they got good headroom. I think there's about 6 foot 5 inch from the deck to the bottom of the gussets. No, Rob, it's pretty quiet down here. There's some guys working on the other finger over there, but our finger's been really quiet today. Sometimes we fly under the radar here, but there's some folks that follow us and surprise us once in a while. Well, that's probably the last time you're going to have to climb out of that door. Isn't that a great feeling?
Yeah.
And we can get our tarp pulled back over and centered up. still a little bit of work to do up there, so we have kind of a crazy looking platform up there. I got to get up there and do a tiny little bit of welding, and then we'll get all the ladders out of the rigging, put our radar back up.
Just over there is good.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, we're really happy with them. They came out good. The boys really took a lot of time to get this tubing bent. It's a compound bend on it, so you couldn't just, there is some flex in it, but not enough that it would have twisted and tweaked the plate on the bulwark. So if you look down it, you can see that there's an awful lot of curve going that way, but then also the rake of the hull. And so they did a really good job of matching them up to the rub rail down there, and then also to the curve of the hull. And we did that all with our little Harbor Freight tube bender. That thing has been pretty awesome over the years. But we finally did kill the cylinder on it and had to go buy a new hydraulic jack to finish up the job. We will, William. We're going to completely change this wheelhouse eventually. We'll bring it out on the sides and do what is basically called a whaleback. Like if you look over here at the Anapolar over there, that's kind of a whaleback design. We'll do a similar thing, and then we can basically use all the space right here. This is a lot of space on each side that is just completely wasted. Rarely do you spend any time there except to maybe stand there and tie up the boat. And so that's just wasted space. That's all cabin space that can be utilized to have a more comfortable cabin. And we're not going to have, it'll probably be kind of a split level as opposed to a wheelhouse like that and like the one on the fishtail, but it'll be kind of a split. So we will have a raised wheelhouse, but it's not going to be full length or really high. It'll kind of be a split. So kind of like your feet would be at the bottom of those windows type thing, and then the wheelhouse. And that way we're not a mile up there in the air getting tossed around. Future plans. Got to recoup from this project first, so.
Yeah. Be at least
mentally and physically.
a fishing season, maybe too.
Yeah. So when we do it, we'll likely fabricate that off the boat and then just bring it in. Yeah, we have. My wife Anita was born here and raised here her whole life, and our kids. And I'm a transplant. I came to Kodiak when I was 18, I guess, 19. Pretty fresh out of high school. And I've never left after coming here. It looks good, guys. A lot of deck. So there's one other, so this is, there's only 2 of these holes in Kodiak, these mussers, and another one is a Lindsay Marie down here. But it's a house aft. And so it's interesting how the hull is the same, but the way the boat sits in the water and looks is a completely different look. She hasn't been used much over the last few years, so looking kind of rough. But so, like I say, this is the same hull. Most of these mussers were built as a house aft trawler, with the exception of ours and maybe 2 or 3 other ones I've seen that are house forward like us. So just thought I'd show you guys that real quick. Yeah, tons of room for our longline gear, tons of room for a seine eventually. Of course, we got to get the boat rigged for that. We'll have to build new rigging and a boom and all that stuff, but it'll come. Lots and lots of room now.
Oh, you want me to hold the camera?
I'm kind of enjoying cameraman, actually.
Of course you are. Hey, you can answer comments. That's good.
Yeah, we're gonna be barbecuing it up this summer, Money Pit. We're gonna be those guys in the harbor. There's always someone barbecuing something good. Smell some onions and some hamburgers or something, and it's like, oh, that smells so good. Who's doing that? Well, that's gonna be us. Some nice fish tacos or chowders, burgers. Wow, I can't believe there's so many people watching us. Thanks everybody for joining us.
How many people?
255.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Thanks everybody for coming along with us.
How's it look?
It looks incredible. Yeah, it looks really good. When you go into a project like this and you're laying it out, you're always like, boy, I don't know, it looks like really proportionally too big, or there's a lot of indecision at first, but I think that it came out real good. Things will look better once we get that rail tied in up there. We'll put a handrail there for now, and that'll balance that kind of weird gap out right there. But all in all, she looks real good. It's a little bit more bold on this side because we do have this slight list right now. But she looks great from the port side. We just got to finish getting things trimmed out. Well, we're not quite there yet, Bryn. I think you got to be like Mr. Beast to see millions from YouTube. But it does help, I'm not going to lie. It makes it worthwhile. Anita was able to quit driving school bus and edit instead, and supplement our income that way.
That looks good. I'm gonna hop up on the house. Take the ground tarp down now.
Oh yeah, nice. Still a little more to take off up here. So this big heavy gray tarp came with the boat. For those that might not have heard me say that, this was used for covering the processing area. Looks like it needs a good pressure wash now. It's pretty gross right there. Of course, I had to grab that spot. And so it'll come off during some of our fisheries, and other times we'll leave it on there. It's kind of nice to have a covering when it's all nasty and misty and rainy. The only thing I don't like about it is it didn't go all the way forward. And we still need to make a few improvements up there. One thing is that maybe just put a strip of raised fiberglass along the back of the house right there, because all the water just runs off and drips off the edge onto your head when you go in and out of the cabin. That's kind of annoying. What percentage did we save? Well, to construct a new boat like this, even this size, 48 foot, is probably well over $1 million nowadays. Boats are extremely expensive to build. So we saved an awful lot of money. Of course, we put our labor into it. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair, Robert. $1.5 million would get you a pretty nice boat, but also a pretty basic setup. Yeah, so that's a comment that we've gotten a lot before, is why didn't you just have a new boat built? And that's why, because we don't have $2 million laying around. And a guy could certainly finance it, but you know, it's hard to. Our industry is unpredictable, and like I was talking about earlier, we do go through a lot of peaks and valleys as far as the value of our fish and stuff. And right now, guys that are heavily indebted in boats are in big trouble. There's going to be some really rough years ahead for folks, and especially ones that are just dependent on one or two fisheries. So we're in a pretty good place. Hi, Stephen. Thanks for joining us. There's just so much room. Now we have to get this table out of here.
Yeah. Well, I guess we have to clear it off now.
Yeah.
There's not like really anything on it. It's just more of a collectible.
Yeah, it's just kind of bits and pieces, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate it. Yeah, we are going to haul halibut over the side. We'll likely keep this area right here a little bit lower for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it'll put us closer to the deck and closer to the rail here, make it a little more comfortable. Probably going to do a small cutout right here, like on the fishtail, just down to the original fiberglass. We'll just cut it right here probably, and then we have room to work right here. We'll just haul through a snatch block up here, kind of have this roughed in right here. So this will just hold open face pulley right here. It'll go through that, then get redirected back to the reel. And like I say, a small cutout right here just to make pulling fish over a little bit easier. If you have a spot that you can kind of drag them through, it makes it easier, especially bigger fish. So we were just kind of fleshing that out the other day. We actually had 2 guy wires here. I think we're going to drop this one. It shouldn't be a big deal on the stability for the mast. We still have a wire and chain that comes down and gets connected to the back, so that supports the mast forward ways anyways. So still just kind of working that out and playing around with it. One of the big things about having the deck the same heights forward here is in the back is when you come out of the cabin and you're stepping up to get on the deck, it's pretty easy to hit your head as a result, because your feet hit the deck and your whole body goes up like 8 inches, and I don't want the boys knocking themselves out when they're in a hurry to get out on deck. So I know I'm missing some of the comments here, guys. So if I miss your question, just throw it up there again.
I was also going to say, if there's a comment section on the after broadcast, you can always drop it down in the comments, and we always read comments. So we'll just go down there and answer you by text if we have to miss your comment.
Yeah. So if you guys caught that from Matt, if you got a question and we missed it and didn't answer it, then we'll answer it after we just post this as a regular video. First first fishing trip for this will be halibut, and then we'll do some rock fishing cod. Nope, we didn't say anything about crab. We'll fish crab with it next year. No, Lee, we're not gonna sell the fish tail anytime soon. We have halibut that we own, halibut IFQ, that has to be fished on a D-class vessel. That's a 35-foot or less vessel, so we would have to sell that quota if we sold the fish tail.
Yeah, there's a question like a long time ago that I meant to bring up, but someone asked if crab can be processed on vessel or if you can only deliver it. I think.
You can process crab on board. I believe it has to be cooked here unless it's being exported, and then you can do raw. But if it's for domestic markets, it has to be cooked. And so to do that on the vessel, that is an awful lot of equipment and stuff. Yeah, so this boat cruises around 7.5. It's hard to know the exact number right now because when we brought it home, we were sailing in waters that we're not familiar with, so we don't really know the currents and how fast average, but it's around 7.5. Yeah, we'll continue using the fishtail here anyways for our black rock fishery. It's a 5,000 pound trip limit, and the areas are spread out around the whole island. So if you have a little boat that's efficient to run like the fishtail, it's nice. With the fishtail, we burn like 1.8 gallons an hour at cruise, which is about 7.5. And so it's super duper efficient to run. The furthest area that we fish for black rock fish is like a 12-hour run one way. So it's a pretty long jaunt. So it's nice to have an efficient boat, especially with the fuel prices the way they are now.
Sorry. Hey. Scrap on the center. Curve back. Over.
You'll have to break it loose back here first, I think, Matt.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So yeah, this is one thing that I don't really care for, is that this isn't long enough to go forward, but that's okay. Like I say, we will put a wave wall on that side anyways, and that'll have overhang, and it'll be tied in to the back of the house right here and built in such a way that it's leak proof. And so it'll be a nice area to not only process under, but also for other fisheries like crab, to have your bait shopper,
Keep our rain gear in there.
put our rain gear there, things like that.
There's supplies like that you don't want getting blown away off deck or something. Nice.
Yeah.
Here's the 2 drills.
Oh, it's nice. You can just hop on or off anywhere now. Yeah, surprisingly quiet over here today on our finger. The harbor's just kind of starting to come back to life. Guys are starting to wake up and get ready for salmon. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, so got some welding spots to do. Got the where we extended the legs there. I was covered up, couldn't really get to them. So got some welding underneath these rails. Looks different.
Yeah, I like it.
Did you stand back?
I did.
Yeah.
Briefly, yeah. Looks really good. And finally get like just an overall sight and feel of it.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for following along with us. We appreciate it. We have just developed our skills from just owning boats and being too cheap to pay other people to do work for us. A lot of times we've had more time than money, and sometimes we have more money than time, but rarely do we have both of them at the same time, I guess.
I think our professionalism standards are also like a big factor in it.
Yeah, so we've just figured out how to do stuff over the years. A lot of it, just like anything, it takes some research, some practice, develop some skills, and then you can go a long ways with it. You know, buying the gear and having it available is really good. It's always great to learn other skills. Fishing is never a guarantee. We've gone through boom and bust cycles, and there was times when we fabricated stuff for other guys and did welding work on aluminum and stuff like that, and it paid a lot of mortgages with it. So it's always good to develop skill sets, really, no matter what industry you're in. I know there's a lot of people in social media right now that are really struggling with layoffs and stuff like that, and in IT, and so that's just a good example. If you don't have a backup plan, you're going to get bit, no matter what industry you're in. We've seen it in really every industry in the world, and so careful there, Matt. It's good to have a backup plan. And so if fishing completely falls apart, we could easily just, I don't know, maybe build some boats, or at least work on boats. We can fabricate and weld aluminum, we can fiberglass, there's stuff that we can do. No, we're not. We're not supposed to have motorized vehicles down here on the dock. We do have carts, and we don't have terribly high and low tides here like other places in the state, like Cook Inlet and Southeast Alaska. They've got massive tides down there. And so it's not a real big deal to load up one of the harbor carts and haul away garbage. So our 671, we run it at like 1,450 RPM, but we have, what is it, a 3-to-1, right, gear? And the wheel on here is massive. It's like a 40-inch wheel. I think it's 38-inch wheel. It's big. It's huge. And so it's geared way low, but we have a very big prop. And so it gives it a good bit of thrust. Well, it won't be too long and we can get the boat out and motor around some, and we'll get the drone out there and get some great shots. Thank you, Eric, for the super chat. 20 bucks. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Eric.
So that's the last little bit right there, up there in the peak of the old shelter tarp. And then we can get our gray tarp kind of centered up. We had it pulled over to one side, kind of when we constructed our weird covering here.
some kind of bird was bringing seeds down here.
Yeah.
We got it.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, we're happy with the results. It's turned out well. We'll be fishing soon. I think sometime around next month, we'll probably be fishing this. Like I say, we have a little bit of halibut to do on the fishtail. Go out and get some halibut, and then we'll put the reel on over here and start harvesting halibut on here first. And then by the time we're all done with that, then we should have our freezer and all that stuff ready to get put on and start jigging, do some fall jigging, and get some rockfish and cod. I was gonna say we could almost just take that gray one off and then get it, bring the pressure washer down, huh?
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Now that we have our waters turned on again in the harbor, they turn it off in the winter, so the lines don't freeze, and they finally got them turned back on a couple weeks ago. So now we can get our pressure washer down here and give everything a good blast. Yeah, it's been a couple years, Chris. It's yeah, it's been like 2 years. So I apologize, I can't zoom out with this. When we're live streaming, it doesn't allow you to zoom in or out. So we actually prefer cod over halibut. We eat a lot of cod. Because number one, whenever if a package fails or something from the processor, then we just put it in our freezer and we eat it. And we love it. Halibut's good too, don't get me wrong, but cod is a lot more forgiving when you cook it. Halibut's really easy to overcook and kind of dry it out. Cod's just retains more moisture, I guess. But they're all good. We love them all. Yeah, I wish I could get back further and kind of give you guys a good side view, but just not enough room on our finger here. I'll go up towards the bow anyways.
What is all this?
Right?
Daylight.
Oh boy.
Our cave is gone.
Now we have all this junk everywhere. Have to tidy up our finger. It's really nice to have both the boats side by side, because then we don't have any neighbors to get mad at us for having our junk piled on the dock. At some point, we will probably also catch on the fishtail and offload and process on the Emerald Isle. We just have to make sure that we're permitted to do it. You are allowed to do that as a catcher processor, but we just have to make sure that we have a bond in place to do it. So I was trying to get over here, but I'm like at the end of the dock. Maybe I can kind of sneak you around the corner here. So you get a longer shot there. Yeah, we'll have to go home and get the truck, and then we can get all our mess cleaned up here. Well, we like fish sandwiches too. Rockfish and cod. I think that's one of the best meals ever. Maybe a side of coleslaw, homemade bun, toast it. Now I'm hungry. Well, I wish Mom was here. She'll have to come down and inspect later. Yeah, the windows on the front came out really good. We were super happy to get rid of the glass. There's nothing worse than busting a window out. The first boat I was on, we actually blew the windows out on it. We were out west, headed out to do a halibut trip. It was a 75-foot vessel, and bucking through one of the passes there between the islands and through a very nasty storm, and we came up over the top of one and buried the bow so deep that it blew 9 out of 15 windows out of the wheelhouse and buckled the steel on the dash. Those were glass windows, and they were probably 3/4 inch thick, and there's like a million shards everywhere. So I don't miss those days. I gotta round up my our battery pack.
Oh, battery pack.
Yeah.
You have to get your
Yeah, we do have a list still, Robert. We gotta get everything trimmed out here yet. I think in the short term, we'll probably just use our starboard fuel tank that's empty now, but it's still sound. And so we drained it and cleaned it really good. And now we can just put water in it as ballast to trim the boat out. Oh, that's not even the right plug. Hang on a sec here, guys. I'm just monkeying around getting a portable battery plugged into my phone because it's starting to go dead. Not sure if it's charging, Matt. Didn't say.
probably is.
Probably is. Well, anyways,
Wow, it's so bright.
yeah.
It is.
We appreciate everybody joining us today.
Yeah, quite a momentous occasion. Yeah.
So we'll have some more content coming up soon. Some of the projects that we captured content on, but just haven't published yet. Projects that are done. So there'll be some of that coming up, and here before long we'll be slinging some hooks on the fishtail, and so we'll have some fresh content there, some fishing content. We're really excited to take a vacation, and that's kind of what our vacations consist of, is going fishing. Oddly enough, that may sound weird, but so we're excited about that.
Yeah.
We do actually have some extra of these deck boards that we're going to use on our fishtail, but just on the forward part, so the hatches aren't, so it'll just make it a flush deck there, and you won't have that little lip from the hatches. But the back is okay the way it is.
taking it in.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Dan. Hit that thumbs up. Yeah, and thank you for everybody that joined us here. Yeah, now we'll get busy and get this thing wrapped up. So, guess we're gonna have to go get the truck and get this stuff off here. It's probably gonna rain. It was supposed to be sunny, but it's kind of just overcast today.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to haul our stuff off here.
Looks like it could rain.
Clean up the mess we made, I guess.
Yeah, get our rubbish cleaned up. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I guess so if we missed your questions or anything, please just drop them down there in the comments, and then we can answer them, the ones that we missed. We'll just this live stream will just get published like the last one, and then you can at least peruse the comments there and get your questions answered if we missed it. It's hard to keep up. No, Bryn, we don't get thunder and lightning here very often. It's very, very rare. It's actually been quite a few years since we had any thunder and lightning, and that's okay with us. We got caught in a thunderstorm on the fishtail one time, myself and my wife Anita, and it was the most terrifying thing that I've ever seen. And I came from Montana, so I'm used to thunderstorms and lightning, but we had a storm sweep over us here in town when we were out on the boat, and it was absolutely terrifying. So we'll take a hard pass on that stuff. You guys can keep it. Alrighty, well, I guess we should... Yeah, we get some earthquakes up here, though. So I guess we'll probably sign off, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
And kind of get our mess cleaned up. I'm not sure if I'm in frame or not here.
Just reverse it.
Oh, just reverse it. Gotcha.
Let's see you guys.
Up. I think this cord is probably messing things up too, so.
It probably is.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. We're going to sign off, I guess, and kind of get our deck tidied up. Go get our truck so we can haul our goodies home and get some grub, too. I'm starving.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks a million for coming along and joining us. It's been fun getting this thing uncovered. I'm glad you were here to share it with us.
Yeah, me too. Thank you guys for coming along.
Yep, and everybody that supported our channel, our business, our Kickstarter project, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We couldn't do it without you, and we really appreciate your support.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We'll say hi to Mom for you.
Yeah, we will. We'll see you again soon.
Yep, bye
See you
guys.
soon.